Flow over force. Welcome to April's energetic forecast. We're in a universal 4 energy month, and we're still playing in 2025, which is a universal 9 energy year. And the overarching theme for this month is flow over force. This is an energy that's reminding us that structure isn't a cage, that it's a container that lets your magic run wild. And we can feel these shifts already coming out of March. This is like the calm after the storm. I can feel it, and I hope that you can feel it too. It's a much needed energetic shift. Before we dive into it, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Anne Marie McKenzie. I'm a soulful business strategist, professional numerologist, psychic spiritual teacher, and a heart conscious leader. I'm here to ensure that every soul reaches their full potential in this lifetime. It's that simple. I work with spiritual entrepreneurs just like you to align with your purpose, amplify your gifts, and activate spiritual wealth so that you can scale with soul. And every single year, every single quarter, every single month, every single week, I do a pulse check in terms of the energy that's coming through from a numerological and astrological perspective, and also an energetic pulse of what's happening in the collective consciousness as well. And I share these insights with you to support you in your business, in your relationships, and for your own personal growth as well. So, flow over force. Let's first dive in and talk about the 4 energy. What does 4 energy mean? I personally love 4 energy. It really represents sacred foundations. And these sacred foundations create safety. And why I love this energy is because it is so necessary, especially when we start working with numbers like 7, to be able to trust. And being in this anti-trust era that is happening in 2025, trust is really important, but we can't get there unless we feel safe. And so the sacred foundations that a 4 energy provides creates a level of safety in order for us to trust. It also represents stability, sustainability, security. It's organized, it's very resourceful. The energy is about solving problems, getting shit done, and also knowing how to delegate. The 4 energy supports us to see opportunities rather than challenges. This is about calling in teams. This is about calling in the people and, again, the resources that are going to support us to get us to where it is that we want to go, but to do so in a way that is very balanced, especially with that masculine and feminine, being able to play with both in their healed states, being able to play with the divine masculine and feminine and call both of those in. And when we look at it from a disempowered side, the opposite of all of that is frustration, is trying to do everything on our own, is the overgiving, over delivering, feeling like the weight of the world is on our shoulders, and being really resentful because of that. Now, if you tap into that lower vibration of the 4 energy, it's not meant to be judged, it's just meant to be witnessed. And practice that sacred pause and love up on yourself and love up on those lower vibrations, because they're bringing you a message. They're bringing you a valuable lesson or spiritual assignment to support you to cultivate higher levels of that 4 energy. So it's reminding you that there is a system or a structure that is missing that's providing that stability that you really require and that sacred foundations. We want that sacred foundation, especially in our business and of course in our life as well, to be really strong in order to be able to play with that universal 9 energy that has been inviting us to rise from the shadows and lead with light. So there's a lot of releasing and cord cutting and canceling, deleting, releasing, cleansing, clearing, auditing that is happening. And all of that we're doing and playing with that 9 energy, and then tying it in with this 4 energy, is developing that strong sacred foundation. Let's look at the power of 4. When we think about the number 4, it exists all over. It exists in our lives, it exists in our business, and it's very predominant. There are 4 suits in numerology that we play with that represent the 4 seasons. There's also the 4 directions. There is the 4 chambers of the heart. This one was my favorite to remember because I definitely use heart intelligence as our greatest resource and greatest asset and integrate that into business to better understand energetics. There's the 4 quarters that we play with in business and the 4 phases of the moon, just to name a few. We have to remember that if the theme for the month, if 4 is here to invite us to step into this new energy, flow over force, we have to remember that flow cannot and will not exist without a structure. We want the structure. This again is expecting a river to exist without the riverbanks. That is very destructive, highly chaotic. We already experienced a lot of that in March. And so let's create better systems, better structures. Let's play with that divine masculine to learn how to balance the two. So in our business, this is about building systems that hold your creativity without draining it. So often, the spiritual entrepreneurs that I work with are highly creative individuals, and yet they resist systems, structures, or schedules, feeling that that will take away from their creativity, when in fact, what it does is provides them higher levels of creativity, higher spaces and places for that creative force to flow. Think about it this way. Having set days to connect with clients or gather or to network versus days where they are non-client days, non-meeting days to simply write, create, produce, whatever that looks like for you, whatever creativity looks like for you. And for some people, I know that that can feel like it's impossible in your business, but it's absolutely necessary in order for us to really dial into flow over force. So I want you to think this month about your opt-ins and your lead generations, for example. I want you to start from that place. And the reason that I'm highly recommending this is because 4 energy does work really well with people. It is an energy that represents leadership. So if we're thinking about people and we're thinking about relationships and we're thinking about our business, then how are we calling new people in? How are we authentically attracting our soulmate clients? So I want you to dive into those opt-ins, look at your lead magnets, and build systems around them. One of the suggestions that I'll be making for this month is to audit your foundation. So when you go and look at your opt-in, for example, is it working? Is it attracting authentically new soulmate clients? And if not, then what's misaligned? Is it the messaging? Are you getting a lot of new emails? Are you getting a lot of signups, but then people aren't purchasing from you? Perhaps your freebie is just creating a community of freeloaders. Maybe your freebie is just calling it a bunch of people that are looking for free resources themselves, or what did my grandma used to say, that are looking to mooch off of other people. And so perhaps rather than it being a freebie offer, it's maybe a low ticket product or a low ticket service or something that you produced or created that you can sell without it requiring your energy all the time. And then when you have that system or structure, is there a nurture sequence? So once you call somebody into your world, is there a way that you're continuing to build your relationship with them? The other aspect of this is the boundaries in the relationships. So what that allows you to do is create some boundaries with the new people that are coming in. Rather than immediately them getting access to your energy, you're able to set those boundaries with the new people coming in while still nurturing a relationship with them through an email sequence and through your content strategy and your marketing. So showing up doing lives, posting in your stories, posting on your feeds, whatever that looks like in your business, creating a new blog, creating a new video. But then that allows you to build boundaries in the relationships. And then there's also the extra layer of building boundaries in the relationships with your clients and your client work to create more ease rather than more work. So an example of this would be, I had a client that frequently complained that people would book and cancel, and then it was affecting her ability to pay her bills. She was always in this space of not knowing exactly how much money was going to come through because there were people that were canceling. And my question to her was, why are people allowed to book with you without paying? And she said, well, that's just how it works in my industry. And I encouraged her to change that, to set that boundary with her clients, and to trust that there are people out there that understand that you have to pay in order to book. So audit your foundations in your business. We're looking at the main foundation first. This is always the bigger picture, your vision, your mission, your values, and your heart compass. Notice that there's 4, and that's what creates stability in your business. This is also, these 4 things are a representation of why you do what it is that you do. And I want you to remember this month that people don't buy what you do or how you do it. They buy why you do it. So to really sit in an embodied state, an energetic state of embracing your own why. This is about auditing your vision, your mission, your values, and your heart compass. And in the numerology of business immersion and Master Heart Mastermind, we dive into all of this. So if you need support to understand what that looks like in your own business and to understand the energetics behind it before the strategy, then definitely reach out or consider those containers. This is also about looking at your marketing and client attraction. Again, really start back with the basics. It doesn't matter if you're brand new to business or you're a vet and you've been doing this for decades. Go back to the basics, those opt-ins, those lead magnets. I also want you to look at the structure for spiritual wealth. So this is your offers and your cash flow, for example, your products and your services. Again, if it's not aligned anymore, if it's not working, if it isn't what your heart desires, if it's not lighting you up and it's not bringing you joy and it's not supporting you to feel balanced in your life and in your business, then why are you continuing to do it? It's okay to let things go that just aren't working anymore. And you are a different person now. Energetically, we've all gone through many upgrades. We're still in the eclipse portal. And so there's a lot of these ascension energies that are happening. And so you're shifting and changing. And so your offers and your services and your products need to reflect that in order to, again, authentically attract your soulmate clients. This is also a time to really look at operations and onboarding. That CEO schedule is really important, and your teams and how you delegate with your teams. Communication will be extremely important this month. How you communicate what it is that you need and how you want things done, your messaging, who you're attracting, why you're attracting them, the audience that you serve, the problems that you solve, all of that will need to come online this month. And the last thing in terms of auditing your foundation is really looking at being energetically open from these 4 perspectives: mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So it's not just about the business pieces, but it's, are your thoughts in alignment with that direction that you're heading? So there is that higher vision of the 9 energy, and then that 4 energy again is creating that sacred foundation. So do those 2 things align? Is there a bridge between the 2 that makes sense and it's easy for you to cross over? Are your thoughts aligned? Are your feelings aligned? Again, your heart compass will support you with that. How you feel, how you want to feel when you show up and do this work, how you want your clients to feel, your partners to feel, the stakeholders, the community, your family, your friends. All of that is a reflection of your business as well. Spiritually, are you energetically open for business? Are you watching for the evidence of flow, paying attention to them? Do you see the omens of alignment? Do you see and follow the divine breadcrumbs? Or are you forcing things? This is what it means to be in flow as well. Are you working with your spiritual support team? Are you asking for the support that you need from that energetic, angelic realm? And then the obvious piece is are you physically open for business, which we just went through. So the power of 4. The other piece that I want to talk about is that 4 energy is connected to the emperor in tarot. Okay, it's quite a handsome guy in this deck. He represents leadership and sovereignty. The emperor reminds us that true power is in building a structure. This is what allows for sustainable growth. Again, remember that the 4 energy is about stability, sustainability, structures, systems. All of this provides safety for our nervous system. Planning is nervous system regulation. So if we're dialing into all of that and tapping into all of that, that's what's going to support us to provide that safety. And that safety will support us to be open to receive by taking action. That is how we authentically attract. It's our thoughts, it's our feelings, and our actions that determine our reality. So the emperor, which is connected to the 4 energy of leadership and sovereignty, is going to support us in this month as well with flow over force. And this is about leaning into attraction. And what I mean is this energetic aligning thought that I attract, I don't chase. I attract, I don't chase. So coming back to that auditing of your foundation, knowing all of that, being an embodiment of that is what's going to help you attract rather than chase. This gets you out of that energy of feeling desperate. It reminds me of a time way back when we were talking decades ago when I was a server, and I'll never forget coming into work and knowing that it was at the end of the month and working with other servers that needed to make sure they made enough money that night in order to pay their rent. And you could feel the desperation. You could see it in the service that they were providing for their clients. And it didn't work. The desperation didn't always work. I mean, sometimes it did, but it didn't really work. It definitely wasn't fun. It wasn't pleasurable. It wasn't great to work with them. And it was very stressful for them, not knowing if they were able to actually pay their rent the next day. So I'll admit there were several times where I probably was in the exact same situation. Rent was going to be due the next couple of days. I didn't know if I had enough money. But what I would do instead of showing up desperate to call in a lot of tips from my customers, I would put on a really cute outfit, make sure my hair was nice, put on some makeup, and show up ready to be of service to people. I knew what the specials were. I remembered people's names. I remembered people's drink orders, and I had fun doing it. And every single time I stepped into that energy, rather than being desperate for what I needed to have happen, then I was overflowing with abundance. I was easily able to attract the abundance that I desired. So I attract, I don't chase. Now, the other interesting thing that's coming through for this month. So yes, I do the energetic pulse check from a numerology perspective, from an astronumerology perspective, but intuitively what I channeled through, and my spiritual support team wants all of us to know, is that this month, dark feminine energy is going to come online. And that was really interesting to receive when that message came in. And I definitely believe that it has something to do with the emperor, right? That there's this divine masculine energy that is now shown up and knows what to do to create a safe container that has the beautiful riverbanks for the feminine flow. And because of that, there's the support that that universal 9 energy needs to rise from the shadows and lead with light. So we're still in this shadowy, dark, murky energy. Some things are still unhealed. Some things are left unsaid. There's clarity that many people are seeking. There's a lot of things that are happening externally that are outside of our control that we're all trying to navigate. And so this dark feminine energy is coming online to support us to rise from the shadows. But it's about hanging out in those spaces first. So just a reminder that that dark feminine energy is about being unapologetic and authentic at the same time. The dark feminine energy is a truth speaker. They take responsibility for their power. And they also call their power back to them. This is a time to really own, embody, embrace CEO energy. All spiritual entrepreneurs, again, it doesn't matter where you're at in your business. There is also this underlying current of emotions not being processed, the inability to express our feelings clearly. And the dark feminine energy this month that's coming online is going to support us to start to be able to do that. There's also this sacred rage that is wanting to be transmuted. And what's interesting about that message, where it comes from, is the universal 9 energy. So the 4 energy is going to support and provide a stable foundation for the 9 energy to release, cut cords, let go. But what's associated with that, what's connected to that, is the grief that happens from those losses, from the releasing, from the letting go. And a part of grief is anger. So there's this sacred rage that is wanting to be transmuted. And this morning I had a glimpse of it. I have some family members that I call the no effort family members. They're the ones that literally don't put in any effort. And yet there's an expectation that you will always contribute to the relationship. So there's a lack of reciprocity. And it does for quite some time, not so much now, but quite some time in my life, I allowed this to cause anger. I allowed this to drain my energy. And the reason behind it, I could see this morning, was that I know that we are embarking on a new vibration on the planet Earth. There's a lot of talk about the 5D energy that we are moving into. It's not a place, it's right here, right now. And it's literally the vibration of the planet is increasing, and so is the collective consciousness. So, what this means is if there are people that cannot calibrate to the new energy that is happening with the new earth, well, then these souls will then exit the earth and not come back. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be a lot of people that will immediately pass right here, right now. It could mean that. It could mean that a lot of people are deciding to exit Earth and move on. It just means that when their time comes, that their soul will not choose to come back to Earth because they're choosing not to calibrate to this new vibration and this new frequency. So the grief that happened for me, this rage, I could see it, that this no effort family, not all of them by any means, but the few that are the no effort family, that is why I get angry, is because I know that we have worked together for multiple lifetimes, over and over and over again. We have chosen each other. We have chosen a soul contract. We have chosen spiritual assignments to support and work with each other on. And because of where they're at right here, right now, there's a feeling that our contracts have come to a close, that they have come to an end. And yes, there's a bit of sadness that's associated with that. There are times in my life where I've experienced depression because of it. And then it's kind of bubbled up as anger and as rage. And now I recognize that that's all a part of the grief that's happening. As I move into acceptance, I take responsibility for these relationships and for my parts in this relationship. And I continue to choose what it is that I need to do to heal not only myself, but my lineage, the ancestors, the 7 before me, the 7 ahead of me, and activate that wheel, that 14, 7 on my mother's side, 7 on my father's side, and give them permission to activate their 14. The ripple effect that that's going to have is absolutely incredible. But I also know, again, that means that some of these contracts are coming to an end. So I'm not the only one I know that is feeling that there's this sacred rage that is ready to be transmuted, and that's a part of it. The last thing I'm going to say about the dark feminine coming online, and one of the key aspects of flow over force for this month, the number 3 takeaway that I want you to get from this is to honor your cycles. Honor your cycles and honor the cycles. There is an energetic pattern in the matrix, in the universe. Numerology provides us with the insights to those energetic cycles. And then we also have our own personal cycles as well. And we also have grief cycles. And there's also simple cycles of ebbing and flowing. There's going to be times that we're meant to ebb. And if we honor the ebbing, then we can honor the flow that will happen because of it. And that also supports us to prioritize rest and pleasure and to stay open to receive. So just a quick recap. There's the power of 4. To tune into the power of 4, you want to audit your foundation. We are playing with the Emperor, which represents leadership and sovereignty this month, is about taking action. And I want you to take action by leaning into attraction. I attract, I don't chase. And allow that dark feminine energy to come online. Be unapologetic, speak your truth, take responsibility for your power, fucking call in more power. Express your feelings clearly. Own your sacred rage. Learn how to transmute it. And most importantly, honor your cycles. There's some specific energetic days that are happening this month. What I'll share with you in this forecast is that we're going to kick those off on April 8th. We move into the diamonds energy, and this big portal goes from April 8th to April 20th. And there's specific dates in there that we get to play with where we can amplify the power. I'm going to be talking about the specifics of those in the Numerology of Business Collective. The collective gathers the first Wednesday and the third Wednesday every single month, and we dive into the energetic forecast, flow over force. We look at the energetics and we talk about specific strategies that we're going to implement in our business and in our life for business and personal growth. And more importantly, we're also going to dive into the specifics of those power portal days. Now, what I want you to know here in this forecast is that number 1, if you miss the specific day, you haven't missed the opportunity. I know that life gets busy. I know that there are days that are already planned. And so then when you find out, oh no, there's a power portal day and there's some kind of ritual or ceremony that I'm supposed to do on that day, that it can feel a little bit like FOMO. And I don't want you to feel FOMO. I want you to know that every single one of these power portal days has kind of like a front loading energetic lead up time and then the offloading kind of debrief. And you can hang out within any of those days, within a couple of days before or a couple of days after, and you can capitalize on it. Obviously, the day of, it's going to be peak energy. And so the ability to amplify will be cranked up to the max. So it'll be just a little bit lower, like the day before or 2 days before or the day after or 2 days after, if that makes sense. Now, what's important to know in the portal from April 8th to 20th is that we're playing with the diamond's energy, and that's when we want to cultivate spiritual wealth. So, any of those auditing of your foundations in terms of your spiritual wealth, that's the time to do it. And specifically, what's coming through with flow over force is that there's an invitation during that power portal to really tune into how you soulfully sell to people and to change it up. Do things a little differently. Again, if something's not working, fix it. If something is working, amplify it. How can you make that better? And be open to doing things a little bit differently. Again, we're in this antitrust era with buyers and consumers, their patterns, their habits, they're changing. And it's important for us to, really listen to that, really look at that, and then also choose to shift and to pivot with our soulmate clients and provide what it is that they are looking for in a way that's in alignment with our own energy as well. So this is also the time for you to tune into your own worth, to really look at who you are as a transformational leader. Who are you as a mystic? Who are you as a visionary? And again, be more unapologetic about who that is and own it, take responsibility for it, and express that power by showing up and being that. So, tuning in, numerology of collective, we're going to go into the nitty-gritty details of those portal days. There's also the numerology of business Facebook community. So quite often I post those there, or I share them with everybody who's on my newsletter. So I will make sure that I post these in the show notes. And when I post these on social medias, that I will give you those links to make sure that you're on my email list, that you're in the Facebook community, and that you have an invite into the collective, which is gorgeous. It's spiritual entrepreneurs from all over the world. Energetics meets strategy, heart over hustle. It's absolutely beautiful and brilliant, and the easiest way to access me in an affordable way on a monthly basis, twice actually. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment what really stood out for you in this energetic forecast. When you think about flow over force, how does that feel? Where have you been forcing things rather than allowing things to flow? Is there resistance in terms of systems and structures and cycles? Do you see this as a block in your creativity? Or do you see this as the beautiful riverbank that's going to help your creativity flow? If you're interested in working with me in the month of April, numerology of business readings are now open for this first quarter. Happy energetic new year. If you haven't watched the 2025 energy forecast, it is free. It's on my YouTube channel. Make sure you dive into that to really understand the overarching theme that is happening for us in 2025, and the containers to scale with soul, the immersion, and the Master Heart Mastermind. Those containers are open for intakes in the month of April. So you're going to want to head to AnnMarieMcKenzie.com. But the Master Heart Mastermind is application only. So you're going to want to reach out to me, send me a DM or a comment somewhere. I'm interested in the Master Heart Mastermind, and we'll connect and have that conversation and get you moving into flow over force so that way you can scale with soul. Ground. If there's anything that you need to do for this month, it's ground. Get grounded, connect to the earth. The 4 energy is bringing you into this physical space and really wants you to just take, again, everything that is up here in those beautiful forest amongst the trees kind of energy, the visionary kind of energy, and bring it into the here and now. Get those feet in the sand, on the grass, hug those trees, lean on those trees, get in the water if you can get in the water. And above all, take care of yourself, take care of others, and Mother Earth. Thank you so much for tuning in today, for being here. Remember, I'm kind of a big deal, and so are you. Bye for now. Big love.